thingy, dodgems. But yeah, look, obviously you could argue that these other rides may be for adults, shit like that. And them old bouncy castles, not bouncy castles, but flipping, you know what I mean? Them ones. Did it make you sick? Police with grooming in mind. Two mummies. Toy Mania. I mean, what's that aimed at, bruv? I've come to Pride, and this is all... If you don't know already, ladies and gentlemen, that is called Huggy Wuggy. And I don't actually think it is age appropriate, but hey, what here is, I shouldn't say gay. I don't want to offend the gays, because the gays ain't... What I'm seeing in the comments of everything is the gays don't approve of that. Particularly, they don't approve of the old grooming. Hello! Just a quick one.
Yeah.
Would you speak a little bit about your T-shirt?
Yeah, if you want.
What does it mean? First of all, what does it say? Can we show everyone?
It says, love for everyone.
Love for everyone. What does that mean?
What does that mean? Well, it means being inclusive and, yeah, loving everyone, basically. No, despite who they are, what they believe, what sexuality, what gender they identify as. Love is love.
Love is love, and it's for everyone.
Absolutely.
Just a follow-on question. There's a lot of children here today.
Yep.
And obviously you said about sexuality. So I was just curious to wonder, at what sort of age do you think it's appropriate that we teach children about gender and sexual orientations?
I think as early as possible.
As early as possible?
Because as soon as you've brought the subject up, you're not making an issue of it. And you never know at what age a child will start developing and start questioning and thinking about things. So if you talk about it early enough, it just becomes like you talk about anything else. It just normalises the whole subject.
Normalises the whole subject.
I think so, yeah.
Would it not be...
Obviously, you keep things appropriate.
That's what I mean, but that's what I'm saying. So what is appropriate and what age do you think?
We would, certainly in the library service, you can borrow books about different types of families.
Right.
So that's the kind of thing that children would learn. There's no sexual content or anything like that, but it's just about
normalisation of a minority.
Not necessarily a minority, it's just
it's
that,
not,
just
so
that
most families have two mothers.
Pardon?
Most families have two mothers.
Some will have two mothers.
Some, but I would say it's disproportionate. It's a low number that would have, and I would say to confuse the children in such a way like that is, basically my argument goes like this: children don't need to learn about this sort of stuff until they ask.
Yes, but if you talk about something, then
it's going to normalise it.
Then there's not an issue, because if somebody then comes to school and says, "Oh, so, my brother's got, or whatever, someone I know's got two dads." Oh yeah, we've read about that in a book. It's just part of life. So it's preparation. It's basically just part of life, and everything is just, people just grow up accepting that there's all kinds of people in the world, and it doesn't matter. Basically, it's irrelevant who you choose to love and who you choose to sleep with.
Yeah, but that's the point.
There's nothing wrong.
But the connotation of sleeping with people should surely be some
but that's not the kind of thing you'd go into with a child.
But when you're talking about sexualities and gender orientation, these sort of things, these are all-encompassing of the sexuality, and it's all part and parcel of it. It's who you fancy, who you don't fancy, and all that.
But when you're talking about small children, they don't fancy people.
Exactly. That's why they don't need to learn about it. That's what I'm saying.
So it's just, if we have a book that's about, like something like Cinderella.
Right.
If there was a twist on that, and Cinderella ended up meeting a princess.
Right.
That wouldn't be a problem. It would just be a different version of a story. Because a child doesn't think about Cinderella and the Prince Charming having sex. That doesn't come into their mind, because they're just children. No. All they see is two people that are falling in love. So if it's two people of the same sex that are falling in love,
there's no difference to them.
There's no difference. They're not thinking about sex.
But you don't think it confuses them?
No, not at all. I don't think so.
Not at all?
I don't think so.
Thank you very much for your time. Cheers. Love is love, boy. Hello. I'm very well, thank you. Erin?
Thanks, volunteered for having your photograph taken?
Yeah, sure. Someone was like, do you want some wine? So I'm very drunk. Came up to me and made
Erin, boys. Would you like to do a little talk about your book?
Pardon?
Would you mind giving us a little talk about your book?
Yeah, sure.
What's it about?
It's basically a guide for autistic teenagers and adults about kind of gender and sexuality, coming out, figuring out who you are, going out into the gay community, that sort of thing. So,
That's very interesting. So, because I'm autistic too, I'm not a teenager no more,
No.
so I sort of had
Me
to,
neither.
I had to figure it out for myself.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting that it is aimed at the what's it called, the teenage and.
Yeah.
I see a lot of emphasis on younger kids like these days, and I just, how come, like, why the teenage, I suppose?
So the goal was if I make it accessible for teenagers, then it's also accessible for adults. In a way, I think it's like if aiming it at adults would cut out the teenage kind of thing, but if I aim it at teenagers, that still works for adults.
Right.
So there's bits where I talk about school, but I also talk about work because I'm like, teenagers are going to go to work.
I'm writing my own book as well.
Oh, are you?
So I'm a carer.
Yeah.
Being an autistic carer is really difficult.
Yeah.
Really difficult. Like,
Well, thanks for that, Erin. Do we want to nationalise energy?
Energy, buses, water,
Everything.
but all the things that shouldn't be nationalised, shouldn't be privatised.
Is that communism?
No. Was it communism between 1945 and 1980?
Well, we had it all before.
We had public water, energy, gas, public transport. All of those already nationalised. That's where BT.
But it hasn't always, historically, it ain't always been the Conservatives that have sold us out. Like, Labour had a fair part to do with that as well, didn't they? So who do we vote for then?
It's difficult. It's difficult because it is really a two-party state, isn't it?
Well, wait, is it a two? I'd say it's a one-party state. Like, they're more or less at the same stuff.
Yeah, on the Labour side.
Hello. Are you here representing the Labour Party?
We sure are.
Do you have a talk on camera?
Yeah.
So what brings you here today? My name's Jim, by the way.
Hey, I'm Alex.
Nice to meet you, Alex.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, we're here to spread the word.
What is the word? What might that be, Alex?
The word is that Labour needs to win the next general election.
They need to, and why might that be, Alex?
That's because we have sky-high energy bills.
Yes.
We have, leisure centres that are struggling. We have businesses that are struggling, everything, and we really need a Labour government to fund the NHS properly and help businesses.
So, when you say Labour, do you mean Keir Starmer?
Oh yeah, Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party, next Prime Minister.
And you're trying to suggest that under Keir Starmer, like the people's livelihoods and well-being would be better. You think it would be better?
Absolutely, yeah. Keir Starmer's had all the answers so far.
He has?
Yeah, he wants to help businesses. He wants to help people. He said that he would stop the energy price cap rise in October.
Right, but so if I could just refresh your mind, if we don't think about so much of what's going on right now, but if we look at what actually got us in this situation to start with,
It's 12 years of Tory government.
it is
Yeah.
solely 12 years of Tory government.
Labour can't be blamed for what's been happening over the last 12 years of Tory, can we?
Well, I would suggest that Tony Blair implemented some stuff that the Tory government haven't really fixed.
Yeah. Well,
And that would go some way, because normally you'd think like if a party come in, they'd repeal and they'd lay new acts and things like this to sort of right the wrongs that have been committed by the predecessor sort of thing. To just leave them on the track that they're bearing on when it's only spiralling out of control, I would suggest is neglect. Really, you've got to understand. I'm not a Tory by any means. I'm apolitical. I'm what's known as an anarchist. I believe that Keir Starmer might as well be a Tory, and the rest of the Tories might as well be socialists. Whereas where I'm at the minute, I mean, if you could tell me where he's actually been in opposition, like Keir Starmer, what he's actually opposed, like what they.
Yeah, so he's opposing the energy price rise in October. He wants to have another windfall tax on the energy companies who are making billions of pounds profit and use that money to help thousands and thousands of people with their energy bills, which the Tory government are not doing.
But you do understand we live in a world that spins on an axis at 1,000 miles an hour, and the sole thing that keeps that thing spinning is money. No, you do get that though. As soon as Keir Starmer gets into a position of power, it's not going to be the Tory fat cats that are lining their pockets. It's going to be him, and he's going to be in cahoots with big business, just like the rest of them have been throughout.
You mentioned Tony Blair earlier, so under Tony Blair, education spending went sky high, NHS spending went sky high. That's what Labour do when they're in power. They fund our public services properly.
So, can you explain to me how a private NHS trust is a public service and how they run for profit?
We don't have public NHS. We want to keep the NHS public. So,
but it's not. It's all NHS is a private trust. You understand that, didn't you?
Yes, but it's still funded by government money.
To a degree. Yeah, but you're saying it needs more funding by government.
Yeah, we need as much funding as possible in the NHS. Yeah, because we've got.
We've given the money for it by way of national health insurance, don't we?
Yeah, but the what the current government, the Tory government, are doing with that money is
But it's not them, is it? It's the system. It's the fact that they've got these shareholders and these CEOs, and they're quite accustomed to getting six-figure sums at the end of the year and that sort of thing. And my thing carries on the same. Whether you've got Tories or Labour in power, the money is going to corrupt the people at the top.
Yes, but as I just said, under the last Labour government, we spent record amounts on education, record amounts on NHS. So you can't say that Labour don't.
How did Labour start? How did the Labour Party start?
We started with the trade unions. We got United Union over there.
So basically what you're telling me is, once upon a time, Labour was a grassroots movement and it was represented by normal people.
And we still are. We've got some normal people here.
No, but Keir Starmer's not representing you or I, sir. This is what I'm saying, and that's the man that you're trying to vouch for and trying to make me think it's a good vote. And I would suggest that he's just like the rest of them, mate. I'm waiting to hear an argument as to why he may be different, but I'll be waiting a long time, I imagine.
Yeah, well, as I say several times, Labour's record in government is that we fund public services so much better than the Tories do, and as I said, Keir Starmer has a plan for the energy price cap. He has a plan to help businesses with their energy bills.
Has he got any plans for the Middle East?
Middle East? Well, that's foreign policy, that's different. But
well, this is what I mean though, you never know if they're going to, because these ones that are helping us out, they're putting all the money into the NHS, like you said, Labour did last time, and they're trying to help out the leisure centres and all that sort of stuff. At the same time, they're also invading Iraq and Afghanistan and things like that.
Well, there's nothing to say that Keir Starmer's going to invade Iraq. I don't see where you're getting that from.
No. You think that's far-fetched?
I do, yes.
I don't think she does. All right. Yeah. Well, Alex, thank you very much for that. I thoroughly appreciate it. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Hey? Yeah, YouTube. YouTube. Hey? It's a video. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello there! Go say hello. Get them up, look.
What are you doing here today?
Just come over here, yeah.
So your sort of thing? Nah?
Hey, that's right.
I come over for him on the rides. Yeah, that's about it.
Bit mental, innit?
Yeah, it's alright, yeah.
But like the rides, it's for kids, innit?
Like 2 year, innit?
I ain't even looked.
4 quid, 4 quid.
Fuck. But what I don't understand is I thought this was a festival
Free.
for gays.
Yeah.
Like, but there's all kids rides everywhere and shit.
They're trying to grow the kids up young.
Bruv, it ain't no joke, geezer. It ain't, that's what I'm doing here. It ain't no joke, bruv. I'm fucking, it don't make no sense, bruv. It don't. It ain't right, boys. I'm glad you think the same. Listen, have a good one, boys, yeah? Ta-ra.
Did we enjoy that, guys? Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it?